Okay, so I want you to picture this for a second. You're in a stadium surrounded by a sea of lights. The roar of thousands of fans is all around you. And up on that stage, you're watching a performance that is just breathtakingly perfect. That's the dazzling world of K-pop, right? It's an industry where perfection isn't just something you aim for, it's the absolute baseline. Every single move, every note, it's all been crafted and rehearsed a million times over to create this flawless show for a massive global audience.
But what happens in those few seconds between songs? You know, when the stage lights suddenly go out and that perfect performance just pauses? Well, sometimes that's when we get a tiny glimpse of the reality hiding behind the spectacle. And today, we're going to talk about one of those moments, a moment that has the entire K-pop community talking because it pulls back the curtain on one of the industry's biggest stars.
So our story really kicks off with one single, pretty startling event. It was captured on a fan's camera during a concert by the global phenomenon aespa. Now, this was a moment that nobody was ever supposed to see, but it is completely blown up online, and it's raising some really serious questions about the well-being of these artists who are at the very top of their game.
This slide really breaks down that shocking footage, second by second. The very instant the stage lights go black, for just a routine transition, you see aespa member NingNing suddenly just double over at the waist. And this is clearly not part of the choreography. Then, she completely collapses down to her knees, and for what feels like a terrifyingly long moment, she just stays there, motionless on the ground, as all the chaos of a set change is happening around her.
I mean, it feels like an eternity in that grainy fan video, her just staying on the floor. You can see staff members rushing in with water, and then she slowly, and you can tell it's a real struggle, she gets back to her feet. And as the lights flare back to life, the camera catches her face, and it's just etched with pure exhaustion. There's no hiding it. The physical toll of what she's doing is written all over her. And, you know, in our totally connected world, nothing stays hidden for long. That fleeting moment of vulnerability, something that happened in just a few seconds of darkness, was about to become a global news story. So what happened when that clip actually hit the internet?
Well, that clip hit the internet like a tidal wave. It was shared and reshared and reshared again across every social media platform you can think of. It racked up millions of views in just a few hours. A very private moment of struggle was suddenly a public spectacle, and it became a source of really deep, widespread concern for the entire aespa fandom, who are known as MIs.
This comment from a fan just captures the whole feeling online perfectly. It points to this incredible, almost superhuman level of professionalism these performers have. The fan points out that even though they were clearly exhausted, the second the lights came back up, they were all smiles, ready to perform for the crowd. It's that powerful and frankly heartbreaking contrast between their private struggle and their public persona that really struck a nerve with people.
But here's the thing. The smiles couldn't hide the truth. The audience, both the people in the stadium and the millions watching that clip from home, they saw the exhaustion. They understood that this flawless, high-energy show was coming at a really steep physical price. For just a brief moment, that carefully built mask of perfection had cracked, and what fans saw underneath was a very real, very vulnerable human being.
So this whole incident sparked a ton of questions from concerned fans all over the world, and they all pretty much boiled down to one word: why? Why was a top-tier performer in a massively successful group collapsing on stage from exhaustion? And the fandom, acting like a bunch of digital detectives, very quickly zeroed in on what they believed was the single culprit.
The online consensus was immediate, and it was unanimous. It was the schedule. Fans pointed directly to aespa's grueling world tour. And you have to understand, a K-pop world tour is not just a few shows. It's this relentless cycle of long-haul flights across different continents, constant time zone changes, daily rehearsals, promotional events, press interviews, and then on top of all that, a full-throttle, physically demanding 2-hour performance, night after night, in city after city, with almost no rest. For the fans, the cause and effect here was crystal clear.
And fans were not holding back their anger at all. This comment here describes the schedule as inhumane. Just think about that word for a second. It's not just tiring or demanding. Inhumane suggests that the demands being placed on these artists have crossed a fundamental line, pushing them beyond what is reasonable or maybe even humanly possible to endure.
And that feeling was echoed everywhere. Another fan put it even more bluntly. This tour needs to end like yesterday. This isn't some polite request for them to get a few more rest days. This is a statement that just screams urgency and a sense of helplessness. It's a demand for an immediate stop to what fans see as a physically and mentally damaging situation for the artists they love.
Now, to really understand why the fan reaction was so intense, we kind of need to zoom out a little bit. This incident, it didn't just come out of nowhere. For a lot of longtime fans who follow the group's every move, this distressing moment wasn't a total shock, but actually a tragic confirmation of their deepest fears.
This onstage collapse was basically the lightning rod. It drew in and amplified all of the anxieties that had been simmering just below the surface in fan communities for months. What was once kind of quiet, worried chatter about the members' health on forums and social media, it suddenly erupted into a full-blown public crisis for the fandom.
And right here, you can see the connection that fans were making in real time. On one side, you have this dramatic, undeniable event, the collapse. But on the other, you have the context of these ongoing online discussions about the members' health, including persistent concerns from fans about their apparent weight loss and what they described as their skinny legs. So for the fans, this wasn't an isolated incident at all, but part of a really disturbing pattern of physical strain.
So while this whole story starts with one person and one moment and one group, it definitely doesn't end there. This moment has become a catalyst. It's forcing a much bigger and often pretty uncomfortable conversation about the fundamental demands of the entire K-pop industry. Fans are asking some really tough questions about whether its business model is sustainable, and most importantly, about the well-being of the artists they admire so much.
And so we're left with a really difficult question. We all celebrate the sold-out stadiums, the record-breaking albums, and those perfect synchronized performances. But this incident forces us all to confront the true cost of that success. What is the human price of global superstardom? As K-pop continues to take over the world, it's a question that the industry, the companies, and its millions of fans just can't afford to ignore anymore.